The first recipe has to do with the fact that when no single person, no single unit can control all the relevant knowledge, we need to move beyond centralized solutions. Now, for about 2 centuries, at least in business, a single type of organization dominated. The hierarchy, the bureaucracy, the organization that Jack Welch of General Electric once described as an organization with its face towards the CEO and its ass towards the customer. Because typically in a hierarchy, it is more important to please the boss than to please the customer. So the chances for a hierarchy to, over time, beat the market seems to be about 1%. Now, leaving centralized systems behind is the first recipe. The second one has to do with giving up the idea that we can predict things and plan things and forecast things. Because the world is interconnected today in so many ways that we should expect the unexpected. In recent years, the so-called ETBS, the expected time between surprises, has come down, and it has in fact come down quite dramatically. Now, as a leader, as an executive, as a company, you can relate to all this, I think, in 2 very different ways. Either you accept surprise and your life will become kind of similar to that of a fireman. You will have to travel the world and try to put out fires created by competition. Or you focus all your energy on being the surprise. And I think we have to be the change that we want to see in our industry. And that's also why we're, in the years to come, will be so incredibly dependent on people who can think differently. That management is about planning, it's about organizing, coordinating, commanding. And since we can't really trust the poor bastards we're in charge of, we also need to control. Now, I have a slightly different definition of management. It is, I admit, a bit abstract, but I think it captures quite well how we applied the concept during the previous century. I think it's fair to assume that we defined management as the art and the science of stamping out deviance. Primarily negative deviance, but if we killed a couple of positive deviants in the process, that was a sacrifice that we were willing to make in the name of professional management. We exterminated variation and created organizations that, by and large, at least in my neck of the woods, looked like that. The leadership implication of this variation, extermination paradigm was that we took the weaknesses of people as the point of departure. We tried to transform minuses into zeros, super zeros, but still zeros. And my worry is that too many managers still spend 80% of their time dealing with the 20% of the products, the people, and the businesses that are the absolutely worst performers. When we know that peak performance can only be based on our strengths, we need to play the pluses. So the third recipe has a lot to do with following the evolution, trying to figure out beforehand what new things are evolving out there. Not predicting the future, but looking at the changes that are currently happening in the socio-economic landscape.